Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are reading the entire Bible, including the Apocrypha, including portions of the Pseudipigrapha. And I am sharing with you today two men who died to bring you the Bible. Let's talk about it. The first one is John Wycliffe. I write about him in the book, The Real God is Not in the Bible. Let's talk about John Wycliffe, a master at Balliol College in Oxford. He was the first to transfer the Gospels into the modern vernacular. Now, why is that a big deal? Because right now we have the Gospels in all manner of languages. We have the Gospels in English. We have the Gospels in Spanish. We have the Gospels in French. Welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Why is that a big deal that he transferred the Gospels into the common parlance, the vernacular, because he did it without the archbishop's consent and permission. Listen to what it says. This is what the archbishop said about him. This pestilent and wretched John Wycliffe of cursed memory, that son of the old serpent, endeavored by every means to attack the faith and sacred doctrine of Holy Church, devising to fill up the measure of his malice, the expedient of a new translation into the mother tongue. What did this man do that had the archbishop spewing insults at this man? He dared translate the Gospels into the mother tongue, the common vernacular, so that everyone could read it. The scholar's death saved him. He died before they could get before they can get their hands on him, the church. Thank God. However, in 1424, now he died in 1384. So you're talking about 16 years plus 24 years. 40 years after he died, they dug up his bones, burned them, and threw them into the river Swift. They went after this man's bones 40 years after he died. Oh my God. What was his crime? Bringing the Gospels to people in their mother tongue. That was his crime, making the Gospels available to everyone. That was his crime. Let's go to one that they offed him for similar crimes. William Tyndale dared to translate the New Testament into English. William Tyndale dared. It says dared to translate the New Testament into English. Remember, we are talking about 14th century, 13th century, 15th century, when the church ruled everything with an iron fist. And if you so much as thought you were going to translate even one word of that Latin Bible, that they would speak to people in Latin in church and they don't know what in the world you're talking about, that you are going to translate so much as one iota of that book into the common tongue for all of the common people to read without the archbishop's permission, without the pope's stamp of approval, you're taking your life into your own hands. What happened to William Tyndale? Well, it is fair to say that he established the English language for the Bible. The King James Version of the New Testament is in large part Tyndale's phraseology. Tyndale's prose is clear, modern, minimally Latinized, and with unmatched narrative powers. Everything is fresh, including the use of very common words, unelevated for religious respectability. He put it into the ordinary tongue. What happened? His cunning counterfeit, Bishop Wolsey called this persiferous and most pernicious poison. It's persiferous and pernicious poison to translate the Bible out of Latin into the common tongue for everyone to speak these hallowed words from the Bible. Do you see where the church was? Sir Thomas More ranted alliteratively against this devilish drunken soul who challenged the hierarchy with the English phrases, which the lowest figure of society would receive without mediation of Latin or clergy. The church did not want any of the common people to understand the Bible. That's why they read it to them in Latin so that they could keep them hooked and coming to the clergy for all understanding and for all wisdom, basically disempowering all the people so that they could keep the masses under control. You can't read this book for yourself. You can't have these gospels in your home, and you certainly cannot have these gospels in your mother tongue. You must come to the church every Sunday, and your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding must be mediated by a member of the clergy. You can't even get to God without us, because we're going to make sure that you know nothing about your spiritual essence, because we need to control you and everything you read and everything you think. Peasant people, that's where the church was. Let's just be real. What happened to him? Oh my goodness. I think we know how this story is going to end. He was unfortunately betrayed by people close to him. He scooted off to Belgium, and I'll show you in my book what actually happened to William Tyndale. Let's go on screen share, and then we shall read. I want us to understand how absolutely what's the word? I started to say blessed. That's not the word. Privileged. We are to be able to even read these books in our own language. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are inside of my book. The Real God Is Not in the Bible. The paperback and the hardcover will be released on Kickstarter, not on Amazon. The ebook only is on Amazon currently. Follow that link if you would like to be notified of when the paperback and the hardcover are released. The Real God Is Not in the Bible. And if you are a member on the Valerie Love YouTube channel or the Christian Witches YouTube channel, you have the ebook version of this book. And I'm still adding more to it, and you will be updated soon. Tyndale's, okay. The Catholic Church and the English Crown maintain that only the Latin Vulgate was authorized. It was in Latin. The people didn't speak Latin, so therefore you can't read it for yourself. Scripture should not be read by the untrained public. That was the position of the church and the crown. We cannot let regular people read scripture. Any unauthorized translation, if you want to take it upon yourself and start translating it from Latin into the mother tongue, the common everyday vernacular, the parlance of the people, that is heresy. And we know the retribution for heresy. Giving the Bible to the common people in English was seen as socially and theologically disruptive. Okay, common people? We can't give you that. It would disrupt our whole thing. We cannot allow you to disrupt the crown and the church by just being able to read the Bible in English. We're not running a zoo here. Don't get out of control. What happened to Tyndale? He was betrayed, arrested in Belgium, condemned for heresy. In 1536, he was strangled first and then burned at the stake. His dying prayer, Lord, open the King of England's eyes. And his prayer worked because within 4 years, the king allowed an authorized English Bible, the Great Bible of 1539, which was based on Tyndale's work. So consider for yourself. These people did not want regular people to have the same access they had. Consider how arrogant that position is. Consider how privileged it is for these people to lord it over everyone. They're still doing it to this day, making people think that you require a go-between between you and the infinite source that is your very life, like you need Jesus. You can only get to God through Jesus, and you can only get Jesus through us here at the church. They're still doing it to this day. They just changed the wordology. The only way to God is through Jesus. That's not true because of one simple fact. If God has 8 billion children on the planet and only about 2 billion of them are Christian and even know about Jesus and how the whole Jesus thing works and took Jesus into their life and into their heart, received Jesus into their heart as their Lord and Savior, that's all you have to do and just believe. That's what you have to do. If only about 2 billion people did that, then the other 6 billion of God's kids are doomed. If you were a parent and you raised 8 kids and 6 of them were doomed to, let's say, die or on death row, and only 2 lived, we would question your parenting skills. If you raised 8 children and 6 of them were hellions, and only 2 are on the straight and narrow path, we would say you're not very good parents. God. Now, it says in the Bible, these are just my questions. It says in the Bible that God is a better parent than us. Okay. Well, then, God, how come you can't get 6 billion of your kids on side with Jesus? Some of your kids are over here in Islam. Some of your kids are over here. God, your kids are out of control. You supposedly, if this story is true, which we can tell that it's not, if this story is true, then God, you got your Hindu kids, you got your Buddhist kids, you got your atheist kids. What? Just because your atheist kids didn't believe and accept Jesus into their heart as their Lord and Savior, they're doomed? What are we talking about? Then you got your agnostic kids, like, I don't really know if there's a God or not. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. You mean God? You mean you're going to just forget about those kids because they didn't really know and you didn't have any way of showing them? Oh, this story is ridiculous. We ought to see through the sham that it is. The story is a sham. By the way, if you want to pick up the Gnostic Bible, oh my goodness, we will be reading some books from this, the books that are not in copyright, and we will not be reading from this exact one. So if you desire this one, I will link it here on YouTube, and I will also link it on Amazon. God is the worst parent ever if Christianity is true. Worst parent ever. If Christianity is true, God is an abusive horrible father, and is about to let most of his kids die and burn forever in some kind of torturous underworld ruled by his arch nemesis. What a ridiculous story. Any vestiges of that story ought be completely evaporated from our consciousness. These are very dangerous stories. These are very dangerous stories. Let's Okay. I've been saying this for the longest time. Boom. Come on. Money in the morning. First thing in the morning, baby. And one question: why would the true God need men, simple men, to spread word about how to be saved? Does it make sense? Fantastical. That's exactly right, Tasha. That's exactly right. Why can't God get the job done? But you're God. But you can't get the job done. Ridiculous. Except I didn't think this way when I was in Christianity because my head had been captured by the robust conditioning and programming that they had fed into my mind since I was about 3 or 4. And then one day, maybe not just one day, many days, you have questions that no one can answer. And there's something inside of you that's saying, uh-uh. Now, when I deconstructed from Christianity, there was no YouTube. This was 30 something years ago. When I deconstructed, when I started saying, this is not right, it wasn't because there was some lawsuit against Jehovah's Witnesses, like now there are multiple lawsuits against Jehovah's Witnesses, and now we can find out about them because people read them in court and report them on YouTube. I didn't know anything about that. There was no one telling me any bad thing about Jehovah's Witnesses. It all came from inside me. It was a stirring. It was a disturbance that said, and I'm like, what is this? Because I love my people and I want to be around my people. What is this? And the disturbance within me said, oh no, 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 this is not it. Whoa. And when I told my people, no, no, this is not it, the people could not understand what had come over you. You're supposed to go to the Kingdom Hall and not ask questions. What are we doing here? And whatever is happening, we need you immediately to go back to your regular pioneer self who was knocking on doors 24/7 and not be this new self who's questioning things and acting like we don't have the truth. That's what I was getting. What's wrong with you? That's what I was getting. Something in me was stronger than that. And this is how I know that the dark goddesses were with me. This is how I know. The dark goddesses that people are afraid of, the Morrigan, Lilith, Hecate or Hecate, however you say it. This is how I knew that the dark goddesses were with me. They call them the dark goddesses because they're fearsome and people are afraid of them, like Kali and um, Anat. I knew that the dark goddess was with me because the dark goddess doesn't tell you to burn down your life. The dark goddess tells you be true to yourself, and that will burn down your life. Ah! Be true to this. I see people asking me in the question mark in the comments. AI agrees. I see people asking me in the comments, how do I get out of, Jehovah's Witnesses? How do I tell my parents? I don't know any other way, beloved, other than rip the band-aid off. Just tell the truth. I don't know any other easier way. We cannot rise to our greatest potential if we are not willing to have honest, soulful, candid conversations with people we love, telling them the truth of where we stand without being defensive and with zero blame for on other people. Simply share your truth that's deep within your own self. Why is that so hard for us to do that? Come on. Why is that so hard? I'm patting my feet on the ground because I want to on the floor because I want to run around. Why is that so hard? It's not hard. You can do it. And this is how we grow spiritually. This is how we grow as beings on the planet. Have difficult conversations. Don't run away from conversations that must be had. Don't delay them. Today, if you need to have a difficult conversation, hear me well. Go have it today. Soon as we are done with the Book of Enoch today, you run and go have that conversation. You go and message that person and say, we have to talk today. Do not let your head get on that pillow tonight unless you have the difficult conversations. Do you know how many difficult conversations I have had in my life? And do you know how wonderful it is to be free after a difficult conversation? I just had a difficult conversation the other day. I love having difficult conversations because they free you. Yes, they free you. And here's the deal. Here's the deal, family. Yes, we are trying to people please. I see this. Walk in your truth. That's exactly right. Walk in your truth. I love that. I love that. I love that. Walk in your truth. Thank you, Rev. I'm finally coming to the light. I love it. Brainwashes me from the womb. That's right. That's what happened. You from the womb, me from 3 or 4. I feel you. I feel you. We're trying to people please. Yes. Yes. And it's not working. This is what works following this. All this tiptoeing around, trying not to hurt people's feelings, tamping down your own robust inner knowing, being agreeable, even though you don't want to agree, tipping around on eggshells. Say what you got to say. And when you say what you got to say, you don't have to be mean, rude, angry, simply powerful. That's all. I'm not doing this anymore. And I love you enough to tell you what's really going on with me. I want you to know what's really happening for me. Everybody else, fuck them. If they're not people that you really love in your life, fuck them. You owe them nothing. If they are people that you love, that you are in relationship, let's say it's a husband and a wife, and both of them were Jehovah's Witnesses, and then one starts questioning, and they're a PIMO, right? Physically in, mentally out. PIMO, PIMO. We have a lot of terminologies for people that are deconstructing from, especially from the Jehovah's Witness cult. You're a PIMO. Physically in, you still go to the Kingdom Hall, mentally out, checked out. You see, that divide within yourself is causing an incongruence that will cause you not to be happy. I couldn't be a PIMO. I was like, you know something, I'm out. I don't know where I'm going. I know this is a no. And so many people do not say, this is a no, and move on because they think that they have to know where they're going. They think that they have to know the next thing. They think that they have to have it figured out. You don't have to have it figured out to say no to the thing that you know is a no currently. And you may not have an alternative and you may not know where you're going. Go on your journey. You are now on your soul's quest. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Honor yourself. Love yourself as you love everyone else. Love yourself. Be to thine own self, be true. This is not selfishness, this is being self-full. Had that difficult conversation with missionary Chandler, my mom, 20 years ago. Boom. Things got heated, but I stood firm. She said she will continue to pray for my salvation. Beautiful, Mom. And Mom, I will accept all your prayers. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. Like, I wouldn't tell somebody's grandma, no, don't pray for me. I'm not going to accept your prayers. Grandma is a prayer warrior. Yay. Let grandma keep praying for you. You need all the positive energy coming your way. Possible. That's beautiful. Now, with the people pleasing, over it, pimping through societal conditioning. That's it. Societal conditioning. Love that, Denelsia. We're over it. We're over it. And do you want to know how free you feel when you really don't give a damn what people think? And it's not that you are being a hellion on purpose. No, 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 no. But people will say that of you. Oh, there's just a hellion. No, I just live my life according to this, to the inner knowing. And I'm okay with everyone else living according to their inner knowing. I applaud everyone else living according to their inner knowing. I support. I am an absolute advocate for everyone living their inner knowing. I love you. Let's go to Enoch. Let's go to Enoch. Screen share. I bid you comply. Oh, I love that. I love this, Starseed. Wow, I woke up listening to my son's music. Pardon me. His lyrics are exactly what that, staying true to yourself. Boom. There's no other way to live. No other way to live. Angel had a similar conversation with my mother, and Missionary Mom is going to continue to keep me lifted in prayers. Yes, thank you, Missionary Mom. Come on, come through, Missionary Mom. I would expect her to do no less. If she thinks that's going to save your life, I would expect that she would do no less. Ooh, my nanny kept us prayed up. Bless her. Bless her. Bless all those prayer warriors. Don't turn down prayers now. And here's what I want to tell you about prayers. Let's come off screen share for a moment. Work your magical practices and put up your shields and put up your crystal grids and put up all of your wards that only love passes in and out. So if people try to pray to control you, if they say, God, bring her back here to this, it won't work. And only the love part of the prayer will filter through. The control part of the prayer will get caught up in the wards or your crystal grid. It won't even touch you. Know spiritual hygiene. Know how to ward yourself, take care of yourself. I don't call it protection because I don't think you're being attacked. Know good spiritual hygiene. Here's the best book for that. Here is the best book for that. Let's go to Mama Ia's book, Spiritual Hygiene. She just wrote a brand new book. And oh my goodness, this is the book that everyone needs, Spiritual Hygiene. Spiritual Hygiene. Mama Ia's book, Spiritual Hygiene. Come through, Mama Ia. Come through. You know, Mama is always going to come through with something that everybody needs. Share the screen, Spiritual Hygiene. Iyanla Vanzant, Spiritual Hygiene, a practical path for clean living, inner authority, and divine freedom. Baby, what? That's what I'm talking about right there. Let me give you my link. This is an affiliate link. As an Amazon influencer, I earn commissions on qualifying purchases, of course, without it costing you any more. Thank you so much for shopping my Amazon links. You are freaking awesome. Thank you for shopping my Amazon link. Even if you want to buy something else, use my Amazon link to go into the store and I'll still get credit. Yay! Okay, let's go on screen share. Awesome. So get your spiritual hygiene going. Get your wards going, your crystal grids going, your energetic shields going that only love passes in and out. Let's not walk around here bare. Let's not walk around here just open to anyone and anything to throw anything at you. You need to have a force field around you that only lets love in. Magical force field. Only lets love in. I'm a love girl. We're going to keep it love. We're going to keep it love. That's my commitment. Book of Enoch, 73. We are in the first book of Enoch, book 1. And after this, I saw another law for the lesser light named the moon. And its disk is like the disk of the sun, and the wind blows its chariot on which it rides, and in fixed measure light is given to it. And every month its rising and setting change, and its days are as the days of the sun. And when its light is uniformly full, it is a seventh part, the light of the sun. And thus it rises, and its first phrase is towards the east. It rises on the 30th morning. And on that day it appears and becomes for you the first phase of the moon on the 30th morning, together with the sun and the gate through which the sun rises. And a half space, maybe a word missing from the manuscript there, with a seventh part, and its entire disk is empty, without light, except for a seventh part, a 14th part of its light. And on the day that it receives a seventh part and a half of its light amounts to a seventh, and a seventh part and a half. It sets with the sun, and when the sun rises, the moon rises with it, and receives a half of one part of light. And on that night, at the beginning of its morning, at the beginning of the moon's day, the moon sets with the sun, and is dark on that night in 6 and 7 parts and a half. And it rises on that day with exactly a seventh part, goes out, recedes from the rising of the sun, and becomes bright on the remainder of its days in the other 6 and 7 parts. And another journey in law I saw for it, in that according to this law, it makes its monthly journey. And Uriel, the holy angel who is leader of them all, showed me everything. And I wrote down their positions as he showed them to me. And I wrote down their months as they are, and the appearance of their light, until 15 days have been completed. In seventh parts, it makes all its darkness full, and in seventh parts, it makes all its light full in the east and in the west. And in certain months, it changes its setting. And in certain months, it follows its own individual course. In 2 months, it sets with the sun in those 2 gates that are in the middle, in the 3rd and in the 4th gate. It goes out for 7 days and turns back and returns again to the gate from which the sun rises. And in that gate, it makes all its light full. And it recedes from the sun and comes in 8 days to the 6th gate from which the sun rises. And when the sun rises from the 4th gate, the moon goes out for 7 days until it rises from the 5th gate. And again, it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, makes all its light full, recedes, and comes to the 1st gate in 8 days. And again, it returns in the 4th gate from which the sun rises. Thus, I saw their positions, how the moon rose and the sun set in those days. And if 5 years are added together, the sun has an excess of 30 days. For each year of the 5 years, there are 364 days. And the excess of the sun and the stars comes to 6 days. In 5 years, with 6 days each, they have an excess of 30 days. And the moon falls behind the sun and the stars by 30 days. And the moon conducts the years exactly, all of them according to their eternal positions. They are neither early nor late, even by 1 day, but change the year in exactly 364 days. In 3 years, there are 1,092 days, and in 5 years, 1,820 days, so that in 8 years, there are 2,912 days. For the moon alone, the days in 3 years come to 1,062 days. And in 5 years, it is 50 days behind. And there are 1,770 days in 5 years, so that for the moon, the days in 8 years amount to 2,832 days. For the difference in 8 years is 80 days, and all the days that the moon is behind in 8 years are 80 days. And the year is completed exactly in accordance with their positions and the positions of the sun, and that they rise from the gates from which the sun rises and sets for 30 days. And the leaders of the tens of thousands who are in charge of the whole of creation and in charge of all the stars, and also the 4 days which are added and are not separated from their position, according to the whole reckoning of the year. And these serve on the 4 days that are not counted in the reckoning of the year. And because of them, men go wrong in them. For these lights really serve in the stations of the world, one in the first gate, and one in the third gate, and one in the fourth gate, and one in the sixth gate. And the exact harmony of the world is completed in the separate 364 stations of the world. For the signs and the times and the years and the days were showed to me by the angel Uriel, whom the Lord of eternal glory has placed in charge of all the lights of heaven, in heaven and in the world, so that they might rule on the face of heaven and appear over the earth, and be leaders of day and night, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the serving creatures who revolve in all the chariots of heaven. Likewise, Uriel showed to me 12 gate openings in the disk of the chariot of the sun in the sky, from which the rays of the sun come out. And from them, heat comes out over the earth when they are opened at the times that are appointed for them. And there are openings for the winds and for the spirit of the dew, when they are opened at their times, opened in heaven at the ends of the earth. I saw 12 gates in heaven at the ends of the earth, from which the sun and the moon and the stars and all the works of heaven go out in the east and in the west. And there are many window openings to the north and to the south. And each window, at its appointed time, sends out heat corresponding to those gates from which the stars go out, in accordance with his command to them, and in which they sat according to their number. And I saw chariots in heaven running through the region above those gates, in which the stars that never set rotate. And one is bigger than all the others, and it goes round through the whole world. And at the ends of the earth, I saw 12 gates, open to all the winds, from which the winds come out and blow over the earth. 3 of them open in the front of heaven, and 3 in the back, and 3 on the right of heaven, and 3 on the left. And the 3 first are those towards the east, and then the 3 towards the north, and the 3 after these towards the south, and the 3 in the west. Through 4 of them come winds of blessing and peace, and from the other 8 come winds of punishment when they are sent They bring devastation to the whole earth and to the water which is in it, and to all those who dwell upon it, and to everything that is in the water and on dry ground. And the first wind from those gates, called the east wind, comes out through the first gate, which is towards the east. The one that comes from the south brings devastation, drought, heat, and destruction. And through the second gate in the middle comes what is right, and from it come rain and fruitfulness and prosperity and dew. And through the third gate, which is toward the north, comes cold and drought. And after these, the winds towards the south come out through three gates. First, through the first of the gates, which inclines towards the east, comes a hot wind. And through the middle gate, which is next to it, come pleasant fragrances and dew and rain and prosperity and life. And through the third gate, pardon me, which is towards the west, come dew and rain and locusts and devastation. And after these, the winds towards the north, from the seventh gate, which is towards the east, come dew and rain, locusts and devastation. And through the gate exactly in the middle come rain and dew and life and prosperity. And through the third gate, which is towards the west, come mist and hoarfrost and snow and rain and dew and locusts. And after these, the winds towards the west. Through the first gate, which inclines toward the north, come dew and rain and hoarfrost and cold and snow and frost. And from the middle gate come dew and rain, prosperity and blessing. And through the last gate, which is toward the south, come drought and devastation, burning and destruction. And thus the 12 gates of the 4 quarters of heaven are complete, and all their laws, and all their punishments, and all their benefits I have shown to you, my son Methuselah. We'll pause here. I want us to understand something about the moon. There are many tales about the moon that would indicate it is not a natural object. Now, I have not gotten to the bottom of this yet there are many telltale signs that the moon is not a natural object, that the moon was pulled into place to regulate Earth because Earth was an extremely cataclysmic and chaotic planet that could not sustain life. It wasn't stable. And one of the first things about the moon that is anomalous is that it doesn't rotate, right? So they tell us that our planet rotates, it's on a tilt 23 degrees, and the sun supposedly, goes, we're rotating and we're swirling around the sun. The moon doesn't rotate. The moon is tidally locked to the earth, which means we only see one face of the moon the entire time. We've never seen the other side of the moon. Think about that. What's over there? We've never seen it. Does it move naturally? Right, Angel? There is something going on with the moon, and it is quite possible that the moon is a satellite, not a planet at all, not a moon at all. It's possible. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet. Pardon me. I do know I'm overcoming a little from being away. I do know that there are also ancient stories that correlate with the moon not being a natural object, that it was elsewhere and it was pulled into place. It was towed from somewhere else and pulled into orbit of Earth. Now that's interesting. Now, we have a lot of ancient stories about a lot of different things. I'm not saying that we ought to just believe all the ancient stories. What we get to do is look at the whole body of evidence. Our moon doesn't act like any other moon of any other planet. Our moon is too big. Most moons of planets are nowhere near as huge as our moon. And scientists do say, astronomers do say, that our moon is super big for our planet. The relationship. Next, why does the moon have craters on it? And the craters are wide, yet they all have the same depth. This is strange, because if an asteroid or a comet hit the Earth, it would not the impact would not be the exact same depth. Depending on how fast the trajectory, right, according to the laws of physics, and depending on how big the object is, it could make a deep hole or it could make a shallow hole. All the holes, all those craters, they're pretty shallow. Like they're all kind of the same depth. They vary only in width, which would lead us to believe that there's a large metal casing around the moon. Now, this is not bizarre because astronauts claim that they crashed something into the moon just to see what would happen. AI likes this conversation. And when they crashed this object into the moon, it rung like a bell. Like ding. You mean like this? You mean like a singing bowl? Well, those are metal. Then it also said that they did it a second time, this time with a larger object, and they crashed it into the moon. I said into the sun earlier, into the moon. And when they crashed it into the moon the second time, it rung like a bell for like 3 hours. These are very bizarre things. And we don't think anything about it because we look up and we see the moon. Yet the moon is not a normal structure. Very anomalous. There are a lot of things that are very anomalous about the moon. Very anomalous. Remote viewers say that on the other side of the moon, there are whole cities, structures, obelisks, buildings. That's what the remote viewers tell us. There's a whole world on the far side of the moon that we've never seen. We've never seen it. So there are many very strange things about the moon. And supposedly, mainstream science says, well, it's like this because of this. Well, it's like this because of this. You know how they like to come up with explanations for all these things. Yet you still consider that there are many anomalies. And if you have to come up with, if there are 10 anomalies about something, if there are 10 things about the moon that make it so different from every other moon, would it be advantageous for us to consider that perhaps rather than trying to explain away every single anomaly, is it possible that we could consider why is it anomalous in the first place? Rather than trying to explain away every single anomaly. Why is it so anomalous? I guess I just ask questions like you all that mainstream just does not have the answer to, or the answers that they give are not satisfying. So we get to be careful with the moon. And when I say careful, I mean full of care. Really research and discover, what is that thing up there in the sky? What is it? Is it a satellite? Is it a ship? It looks like the Death Star, just a different color. Remember the Death Star from Star Wars? It looks like the Death Star, just white when the Death Star is black. What is it? And there are ancient stories that the moon was elsewhere, like I said, and it was pulled into place and placed in orbit around our planet. There's a lot of things in life that are not explained. Whew. The mysteries just go on and on and on. So when you hear Enoch speaking about all of these different ideas, and you hear Enoch speak of they had a wind that could cause destruction, that agrees with the ancient Sumerian tales where they were able to unleash chemical warfare, gases on people that cause crops to fail, people to die. These are the old Sumerian stories, that the Anunnaki were often people left and right as needed. Too many people. Let's send noxious gas. Wow. All right. Let us conclude here with our incredible discussion, and we will see you tomorrow.